Hey everyone, welcome back to 996 The Howl. The day is over for the Utah Mammoth and free agency. Pretty quiet, but some moves by Utah grabbing some nice depth in free agency. We'll get to the big one first. Brandon Tanev, 33 years old, 6 foot tall, 189 pounds. They walked away with Bukestad. Bukestad signed with St. Louis as a free agent, so this is sort of the upgrade over Bukestad. I would say he's a slight upgrade over Bukestad. I think maybe Bukestad, he's more recently scored more goals than Tanev, but Tanev is a player who uses all 6 feet of his body. He's relentless on the forecheck. He's a worker bee. He's got sneaky speed, and he plays on the PK a lot, which Bukestad sort of really didn't near the end of his tenure with the organization. So maybe expect to see Tanev to upgrade the PK, but his offensive stats, nothing really that jumps off the page. He signed a $2.5 million deal for 3 years. None of these contracts are handcuffing the Utah Mammoth. At the end of the day, they still have about $10 million in cap space. They're not going to use it on a free agent. Maybe it does give them flexibility throughout this season, maybe at the trade deadline if they want to make a push. They still have to sign McBain, who's a restricted free agent. There's some talks about people offer sheeting McBain. Not too sure how to feel about that. I don't think people are going to do it, and I really hope Bill Armstrong sort of shuts that all up and signs McBain to a nice contract. Then we go to Nate Schmidt, recent Stanley Cup winner, along with their new goaltender Vanecek, both winning the Cup with Florida. Depth defenseman, has some sneaky offense to him. He's a good puck mover, but at the end of the day, he's a veteran depth piece, a great human being, a great character. He could slot in on your power play or penalty kill if someone gets injured or someone gets a penalty. He's a good Swiss Army knife. He could fit in really anywhere. And like I said, he's a veteran, 34 years old, $3.5 million by 3 years. He had 12 points in 23 playoff games. So he was kind of used a lot in the playoffs with Florida, who, like I said, won the Cup. If I didn't mention, Tanev is a winger. I expect Tanev on that third wing. If you keep all the lines the same, a Kraus McBain Tanev line makes sense. Or if Daniel Boot or someone else fights for a wing position, a Kerfoot Stenlund Tanev line would be unbelievable too. That would be a great fourth line. For Schmidt, again, more depth defense. There's no way this team's going to have the injury problems it did last season. They got so much depth. Here's a picture. They got 9 NHL defensemen signed. And look, there's Juuso Valimaki still in there. And he spent about half the season with Tucson being sent down through waivers. This list of defensemen doesn't even list Simashev or Maverick Lamoureux, who are going to be battling for spots. So they're going to make sure that they can't use the injury bug as an excuse, really, even though it's a valid excuse this time if they do miss the playoffs. So love that insurance, love that depth. If Schmidt plays extremely well and you just have to put him in your lineup, then you see DeSimone maybe get healthy scratched, Ian Cole get healthy scratched. Maybe you send one of them through waivers or find them a new home. It's just great to have a lot of competition. There's no free spots. Even our young guys, Simashev, Boot, whoever comes out of development camp or training camp, a young player prospect who wants a spot, you gotta really earn it. There's no free spots on this team, which is great. It's great to have competition, and it's great to see a young player really show like they want a spot, and you can't really say no to them, and they just go and grab it. People say, Cole Boudouin might fight for a spot as well up front. So it's great. It would be great to have a surprise young player to make a jump. Even Desnoyers, he says he wants to make the NHL right away. I don't think so, but you got to love that confidence. Then we go to Vanecek, a Czechia goalie. So a lot of Czechia goalies in our system, 29 years old. Played with San Jose and Florida last season, won a cup as a backup with Florida. Before that, he was with New Jersey. He had a stellar season in 2022-2023 with New Jersey, 33 wins, 11 losses, a .911 save percentage, and a .245 goals against average. Crazy good numbers. Not sure what happened. Obviously, I already mentioned he played for San Jose. which was a basement team and kind of tanked his stats this past season. And then the season before with New Jersey, not bad, 17 wins, 9 losses, an 890, 313, pretty rough goaltender numbers there. They signed him for $1.5 million 1 year. This is insurance because they have no idea what's going to happen with Ingram. I think they can't even communicate with Ingram while he's still in the player's assistant program, which he checked into in March. He's still with the program. They also, Bill Armstrong says he hopes for the best, wishes him the best. This is just, again, insurance. I will not be comfortable if Vejmelka and Vanecek are a tandem going into the season. I really do hope Ingram manages to just come back to the NHL level, be fully 100% healthy, because I'm so comfortable with Ingram and Vejmelka. If Ingram isn't ready, isn't available, can't provide consistency or stability for Utah, and they have Vejmelka and Vanecek, I would like them to maybe make a trade for another goalie or look at the waiver wire like they did with Ingram years ago. They had Vejmelka and Prosvetov heading into this season, and then Nashville had Saros, Lankinen, and Ingram. They had to throw one of them on waivers. They put Ingram on waivers, and that's when the Coyotes grabbed Ingram. Without any research, I know Vancouver is going to be in a similar spot. They got Demko signed to a new contract. They still have Lankinen. Coincidentally, he was with Nashville at the time too. And they have a great young goaltender in Slivos, who just won the Calder Cup, which is the American Hockey League trophy. He was the MVP. And so he will have to go through waivers if they decide to go to a tandem of Lankinen and Demko. If they decide to go with Demko and Slivos, then Lankinen goes on waivers. I would be more comfortable with Lankinen as a backup than Vanecek. So it's not over yet for their goaltending situation, but a bit of a question mark. It's one of the only question marks on Utah, and it's really unfortunate how Ingram's situation has led to this question mark for the team. I hope it all just smooths out and everything's back to normal in September and October, but it's more of a wait and see to see how Ingram is doing. Next, we go to a pretty low-risk, high-reward player in Scott Perunovich, a defenseman, 5'10", 175 pounds. This is not about size at all. He is a former Hobey Baker winner, which is the best college hockey player in the NCAA. He was drafted by St. Louis in 2018 when Bill Armstrong was part of the organization. He's an offensive defenseman. He's a puck mover. He wants to get in offensively. It's a two-way contract, so he will have to go through waivers, but he could play for Tucson and make cheaper money with Tucson. I would love him on the Roadrunners. Give the defense some offense and just a whole general roster some offense. The Tucson really needs some offense. So some good depth there. I think if Dursey goes down with an injury, you could maybe see Perunovich be that sort of Dursey type player, a small statured offensive first defenseman, which we really sort of don't have. We have a lot of big defense first defensemen, and we'll see obviously how Simashev progresses. And then Yamamoto, we all know Yamamoto. He was with Utah and the Tucson Roadrunners last season. They re-signed him to a contract. It is a two-way contract like Perunovich, so he will have to go clear waivers and will probably play most of his time with Tucson and might be and probably will be the first man up if there is an injury. But now he's got some competition this year, I think. You got Boots in Tucson if he starts there, and maybe some other prospects develop and become better, and they might leapfrog Yamamoto as that first call-up guy from the Roadrunners. So that's it for me. Thank you for watching a pretty chaotic 4 days. I think we all just need to take a break, breathe a sigh of relief, get used to this new roster Utah has. A lot of, this is what, 5 guys plus Peterka. You lose Kesselring, you lose Doan, you lose Bukestad, Michelli, Carcone. Carcone hasn't signed yet as the time I'm recording this video, but we all got to breathe, take some space, look over the roster, come back with new eyes. And I like what Utah did. They didn't handcuff themselves. Pretty good position. Still have flexibility. Still have all their draft picks. Still have a wonderful pipeline of prospects. They got a good roster on the ice to compete. There's nothing really you could ask for. So props to Bill Armstrong and the whole staff there. So that's it for me. Thank you for watching. If you'd like what you see, spread the word. And as always, thank you for your support.